Hey, what's going on there, YouTube? This is your man Corey G, your New York Uber driver, bringing you another video on how to become successful in the Uber business. As I mentioned before, you and I will become successful together. Today's topic is dealing with, okay, I got my TLC license, I even have a car now. What do I do? Where do I go and start to drive? What location should I do? What location should I start at? Well, here are some good tips for you to know as far as where to go to start driving. You need to first ask yourself two questions. One, do you want to do a lot of long trips or a lot of short trips? That's really the kind of question you want to ask yourself. If you want to do long trips, then my recommendation is to hang out at the airports, particularly LaGuardia and JFK. Now, there are some pros and cons to long trips and short trips that you should know about. First of all, long trips and compared to short trips, okay, long trips are great. They're nice and long, means the fare will be kind of high when you get to the final destination. Short trips is what it is, short trips, and the fares won't be that high. It may be a quick mile or two and that's it. However, the trade-off for long trips is a longer wait. Yes, if you're going to go to the airports like LaGuardia or JFK, well, you need to know a couple of things. You need to know the approximate wait time, because that plays in a factor. Like, for example, JFK. Well, JFK wait time is about an hour and a half to almost 2 hour wait to get a fare. So you want to factor that in. I've been out to JFK several times and I have waited up to an hour and a half. I give myself an hour and a half tops. After that, I'm leaving. But that's just me. But the average wait time is between an hour and a half and about 2 hours. LaGuardia is a little bit different. LaGuardia is about 45 minutes to an hour and 15 that you'll be waiting for an actual call. So you need to factor that into consideration as far as longer trips is concerned. Also, you may want to think about, as far as with longer trips, as far as working the outer boroughs. Yes. I have experience when you work, let's say, Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. People are usually somewhat medium to longer trips, I should say it like that. Because they're not going from, let's say, Astoria to Long Island City. They're not doing that. A lot of the pickups are, let's say, from Astoria to Jamaica. That's a nice ride. That's pretty decent. So that's like a medium long trip. Or sometimes they're going from, let's say, Long Island City to downtown Brooklyn, for example. Or if you're in downtown Brooklyn, they want to go all the way out to Brighton. So you have to realize that, excuse me, you have to realize that the outer boroughs, they can be between medium and long trips, so you may want to factor that in. The Bronx, I can't forget about the Bronx. Bronx is pretty good. People are sleeping with the Bronx, but the Bronx is pretty good. I have done a couple of fares in the Bronx from South Bronx to City Island, which was great. You know, up there, City Island, where all the restaurants are at. If you ever go, good place to eat at is Johnny's Reef. You know, you go down the Strip, Coney Island. City Island Avenue. You go all the way down past Sammy's. Johnny's Reef, real good. But I'm not here to talk about that. But it's nice, good. It was a nice, good long trip, and I didn't think I was going to get a fare leaving from City Island and back into deep part of the Bronx, which I do, and that usually happens around the weekend. So you want to be prepared for that. So don't sleep on the Bronx. The Bronx is pretty good too, especially during the summer months and all the way up to the fall when you have the Yankee game. So you got to keep that in mind too. You're picking up someone from the Yankee game, either they're doing two things. Either they going upstate or maybe they're going to Long Island, or you're taking them somewhere low in Manhattan. So, which is pretty good. So you want to think about stuff like that too. Same thing with Queens, with city fields. So you want to keep those things in mind. Now, shorter trips. Shorter trips is definitely Manhattan. Majority of my rides that I received is usually shorter trips. However, the shorter trips sometimes feels like it's long trips because of the heavy traffic. And don't believe what the city's telling you that Uber is causing the heavy traffic. That's not happening. No, please stop. But it is, the traffic does get kind of heavy. So it takes you some time, let's maybe get across town because of the heavy traffic, and it feels like a longer trip and you get more money out of the fare. But it is a short trip, so be prepared for that. I would say at least 80% of your fares are going to be short trips out of Manhattan. You probably get that 20% that's going to take you to the airports. So you want to just keep those areas in mind. So you want to weigh out, what do you want to do? Long trips or short trips? There's pros and cons to both. That's going to be decided upon you. And you alone can really answer that question. Myself, what I usually do, I do a combination of. Do a little bit of both. So, depend upon where your home base is. Yes. If you live, let's say, in the Bronx, you may want to start in the Bronx. Or you may want to, if you live in Manhattan, you may want to start in Manhattan. If you out there in Queens, you may want to start out in the airports. And then let the wind carry you where you need to go. And you never know what may turn out. And that's basically how I play it. I start off in one borough, and I kind of just let the wind take me. So whatever I decide, sometimes I feel like, okay, I want to start off with a long trip. So I will head to the airport. And then go from there and just let the calls carry me throughout the city. Because you never know what you get. And sometimes you round up full circle. You start off at the airport, you wind up, let's say in Manhattan, you do a couple of rounds in Manhattan, and someone in Manhattan needs to go back to the airport. So that's kind of a good advantage why I do a combination of long and short trips. But that's up to you. There's some drivers I know that just do airport runs. That's all they do. They like doing airport runs. And they make very good money doing it. Some people like short trips, figuring they can get the fares faster and quicker, and they don't have to worry about waiting a long time just to get a single fare. So the decision is yours. Long trips or short trips, it's up to you. And if you like this video and all the other videos on my particular channel, like, comment, subscribe. It definitely helps. And I will see you in the next video. This is Corey G, your New York Uber driver.